Welcome to the second course inside of the Distinction Startup. Today, we're basically looking at the academic entrepreneur. Now, once again, let me set my expectations for this course. Number one, this is not YouTube, so I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh, your content is not engaging. No, I can't really see any visuals. Oh, I get bored. If you are bored, then you don't really deserve to achieve the success that you're looking for in terms of building your online business and achieving well academically. Now, without wasting either your time or mine, let's get directly into the academic entrepreneur course. Now, let me tell you about Dr. Amina. She's sitting in her university lab right now. Pipette in one hand, business plan in another. Last Tuesday, she defended her PhD thesis on renewable energy materials. This Thursday, she's presenting that same research to clean tech investors who want to fund her startup. This isn't fiction. It is the new reality for academic entrepreneurs. What you're about to learn isn't about side hustles or quick cash. This is a masterclass on building a legacy. This is a masterclass on building a legacy. I need you to imagine this for a second. Imagine your groundbreaking research gets cited in journals and powers real world products and changes lives. And that's what happens to you when you master the art we are about to explore together. So basically, what we're going to talk about here is how to leverage and monetize what you learn in class in order to not only make large sums of money like your goal is, but to actually create a real valuable impact and provide real value in the world. Let's look at the first module, the dual identity playbook. Picture your typical Wednesday. Morning finds you knee deep in lab work. Afternoon has you pitching to investors. Evening bringing student mentoring. How? This can occur through what we call the translational bridge. Here's how it works in practice. Take that nanotechnology research that you're doing for your thesis. While you're writing about quantum dot applications in your dissertation, you're simultaneously filling provisional patents on manufacturing processes. The same experiments that generate data for your advisor become validation tests for potential licenses. I worked with a materials science student who did exactly this. Her discovery about graphene conducted. I hope that message doesn't show on screen. Woohoo! Okay. It's just my bank warning me about something. Alright. So, the same experiments that generate data for your advisor become validation tests for potential licenses. I worked with a material science student who did exactly this. Her discovery about graphene conductivity became both a Nature paper and a foundation for her battery startup, now valued at $12 million. The secret lies in what Stanford Entrepreneurship Center teaches. Every academic output should have commercial potential baked into its DNA. When designing experiments, ask yourself two questions. How will this advance knowledge in my field? And what problem could this solve a specific customer? That molecular biology technique you are developing, it could be your ticket to both published paper and a diagnostic kit used in hospitals nationwide. I walk you through how to structure your research proposals to satisfy peer reviews and venture capitalists simultaneously. Because contrary to popular belief, these groups want many of the same things. You need to find ways to monetize what you are doing to not only make it pass you in class, but to find a way to make it actually useful worldwide. Because when you do this, You're not only focusing on the money aspect, you are also focusing on what you can do for others, how you can provide value both nationally and internationally. Now, the module 2. This is the institutional jiu-jitsu system. Universities aren't obstacles. They are rocket fuel if you know how to navigate them. Let's talk about Dr. Chen, a biochemist professor I advised last year. He wanted to commercialize his enzymes discovery but feared tenure committees would disapprove. Here is what we did. We framed his startup involvement as community engagement scholarship, a buzz phrase that makes deans smile. His business activities became applied learning initiatives in promotion documents. The graduate students working in his lab, they're now listed as technology transfer fellows on their CV. This isn't manipulation. It's a strategic framing that benefits all parties. The real gold mine. University resources most students ignore. That boring tech transfer office, it contains patent attorneys working for free on your behalf. The alumni relations department, a hidden Rolodex of potential investors who already love your school. I recently guided a linguistics PhD student who transformed their dissertation on language acquisition into an AI tutoring platform using her university's business incubator. They provided free legal help, market research, even introduced her to education investors. Your tuition dollars are already paying for these services. We'll explore exactly how you can activate them. The Time Alchemist, the professor's secret schedule. Time management for academic entrepreneurs isn't about calendars, it's about cognitive architecture. Let's dissect a real schedule from one of my clients, a third-year medical student running a telehealth program. Her secret: academic prime time. From 5 to 8 a.m., no emails, no meetings, just deep work on board exams and clinical research. Venture blocks from 12 to 2 p.m., investor calls, product development, research hours. From 6 to 8 p.m., it's mandatory work time for family and exercise. The magic happens in the transitions. She reviews the pitch decks while working between hospital rotations, listens to grant writing audiobooks while commutes, uses dictation software to draft research papers during workout sessions. This is the perfect idea of how you can actually balance school and your business. You need to look for these small slithers in the day where you don't really, focus much on either business or school, because the goal here is to not have lives, right? I know I'm sounding like a bad person for saying this, but the goal here is not to have lives, so to speak. It's to focus and to be determined in your academics and your business, so much so that you make them part of your day-to-day life. The way this looks is by exactly what I've mentioned, to say you listen to audiobooks as you commute, you listen to your researches as you work out. You're trying to implement all of these elements into your daily routine to make sure you are an unstoppable entrepreneur and an unstoppable student, all in all. So basically you'll be an unstoppable hybrid. But here's what nobody tells you. The true leverage comes from what you stop doing. That weekly department meeting that could be an email, opt out. The peer review request for a law impact journal, politely decline. The urgent committee work that won't advance your career or your business, delegate that to a junior faculty. I teach my clients the triple filter test. Every commitment, you need to ask, will this significantly advance my research, business, or my well-being? If not, it gets the polite no. It isn't selfish, it's professional survival in an attention economy. We're living in an attention economy, guys. Everything around you is basically fighting for your attention. which means while especially you're working towards a big purpose, like you're trying to be a hybrid student who aces it both in business and in school, the thing is, 100 different things are going to be fighting for your attention. And I'm not just talking from out of the blue. A lot of things may not come while you're still not achieving anything, maybe while you're not working on your business. You'll notice that when you start to focus and you start to derive your energy into what you're doing, that's the time the distractions pull up. When you start studying, that's when your friends want to go out partying. When you start working on your business, that's when your friends want to hang out. Or when you start working on your business, sometimes distractions don't only sound bad. They come like sheep in wolf's clothing. They come like wolves in sheep's clothing. I swapped that. They come as potential opportunities that when you're broke, you would immediately accept. Like business proposals that have nothing to do with the current business that you're running. All those things are distractions. Now, let's look at the stealth funding matrix. Money is oxygen for academic entrepreneurs, and I'm going to show you how to breathe deeply. Traditional advice says bootstrap or raise venture capital. We do better. We meet the grant stacking technique used by top research founders. Start with small internal university grants, $5,000 to $10,000 to prove concept viability. You can add an SBIR phrase for $250,000 for prototype development. Season with industry partnerships matching funds. I recently helped a robotics PhD candidate secure about $800,000 in non-dilutive funding this way. Every dollar came without giving up your equity. But the real art lies in financial camouflage. That $2,500 you need for market research, frame it as community impact assessment in your department budget. The software subscription your startup requires, list it as a computational analysis tool in your lab expenses. List it as a computational analysis tool in your lab expenses. I'm not suggesting anything unethical. I'm teaching you how existing budget categories can serve dual purposes. We'll go through actual grant purposes and budget justifications that some successful people used this approach at MIT and Caltech. Now, Module 5, the exit multiplier effect. True success isn't graduating or selling your company. It's engineering optionality. Let me introduce you to the academic career lattice. Imagine being able to fluidly move between roles as professor, founder, advisor, and policy expert without starting from zero each time. Dr. Rodriguez embodies this. She maintains adjunct status at her university while serving as a CTO of her spinout. Sits on NIH review panels and consults for biochemist firms. Her secret, the reputation arbitrage. Strategy. Every professional achievement is designed to compound across multiple domains. Here's how it works in practice. That keynote speech at an academic conference also becomes content for your company blog and maybe even your YouTube channel, and can be a lead magnet for your consulting practice. The white paper you wrote for government regulators turns into a masterclass for your online course. The The clinical trial data from your research becomes a validation for your startup FDA submission. We'll analyze case studies for academics who've built career flywheel. We'll, we'll analyze case studies of academics who've built career flywheels, where each element reinforces the other, creating exponential impact. What I'm giving you here is literally not worth $25. It is worth way more than that. So I'm giving you all this for basically for free. People would have to pay a lot of money to get this type of information. But because I love you and I want you to actually get what I'm talking about and I want you to actually succeed in both school and business, I'm just gonna charge you 25. But in the future, don't be surprised if I increase it to like 1,000, especially when my production increases, because this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. The tenured visionary. As we wrap up, I want you to picture commencement day 5 years from now. You're not just receiving a diploma. You're announcing a breakthrough product development through your research. Your advisor isn't just proud of your academic work. They're a shareholder in your venture. The recruiters approaching you aren't just offering you jobs, but they are seeking you partnerships. This isn't a fantasy. It is the inevitable outcome of applying the frameworks that we have covered today. The academic entrepreneur's journey isn't easy, but it's simple. Show up each day as both a scholar and a builder. Let your creativity fuel your commercial innovation and let market realities sharpen your research questions. Remember Dr. Amina from our introduction? She just emailed me yesterday. Her startup series B funding closed at $20 million valuation, and her postdoc was accepted at MIT. That's what happens when you That's what happens when you refuse to choose between changing knowledge That's what happens when you refuse. That is what happens when you refuse to choose between changing knowledge and changing the world. Alright, so yeah. With that being said, as you are going throughout your hybrid student journey, I don't only want you to pick the business models that are inside of Distinction Startup, because these are only suggestions. Because quite frankly, a lot of you are studying less monetizable, majors in university than others. So some might or may not apply to you. That's why I have all of those different business model suggestions in man. That's why I have all of those business model suggestions inside of the Distinction Startup. But if your major of study is something that is monetizable, something that can be turned into a business, then I would highly, highly recommend that you use everything that you learn in the strategic way that I have put it in this video. So, thanks so much for watching the second course. I know it wasn't as good and may have been just as bad as the first, but I promise you, each and every single day I record these courses, I will continue to improve both my reading, both my scripting, and my delivery. But all in all, I will try my level best to make sure that you get the best valuable insights and information to change your business and change your academic journey. As always, if you have any questions, make sure to put them up in the question section above, and I'll be seeing you again in the next module. I will be seeing you again in the next course.